I've seen a lot of probably I don't know how many pieces there are, but consideration of alternative views that are polar opposite or that are contrary to your values, I think is there. I think considering other options, actions, or conclusions that are opposite of what you would initially want to have. And I think even the ability to then change your actions and conclusions based on that process of considering other people's ideas. Often people, you don't do this, but often people go, oh, I didn't see that. So that's like, here's the problem, here's the solution. Enacted because that's what you have experience with, that's what is emotionally most satisfying. And then slowing that down and saying, okay, well, here's something that I need to consider, here's something I need to consider. And then do I consider short-term solution? There's drama, so I need to solve that, or long-term solution, let them languish in that drama, because then it takes students to a better place long-term. Short-term suffering versus long-term growth. So I've seen a process where you've slowed down, you've listened, we can, talk about listening skills. A lot of people hear, but they don't really listen, they don't consider, because what happens is, in your short-circuited process, you hear something and you begin to react, and while that person's finishing up what they're talking, you're already thinking about what you're going to say. So the mind is shut off, the intention has gone on, okay, I've heard the first sentence, now how to respond to that, and you're not listening to the rest. So I think those listening skills, those consideration skills, and those processing skills that are in that process. Yeah, I think, we can talk about the ability to ask yourself, is this what I want to do? Fundamentally, deeply, because people do that. Do I want to do this? Oh yeah, this is what I want to do. But to actually sit there and question and understand the pros and cons of a career path or a academic advising technique or something like that gives you a lot of flexibility and probably lead to further success, because you can choose the best tool that you need. Personal responsibility, that's been a tremendous area of growth. Professionalism or maturity. I think there's been also tremendous growth with needing to live up to others' expectations. I think more growth needs to occur there. But I think you're not the Gumby, in the first month, like, oh, let me bend to whatever shape you want me to. And you understand who you are, and you're willing to bend in some areas and not other areas. I think that's a good word. The biggest change you have seen, or that I have seen, is 1 month into your CSP program, you were, for lack of better terms, brainwashed into the CSP mindset. You blindly accept all the tenets being taught to you. This is the way the students develop, this is the way students learn, this is what our role should be, this is what our role is, this is what we have to do. Although you may still accept elements of those, you're willing to reject other elements, because you can see that although those may make sense from a student affairs perspective, they may not make sense from other perspectives. And a student isn't just exposed to student affairs, they're not just exposed to faculty or co-curricular or whatever. Students have to make sense of everything. So approaching things from a accepted set of principles is not always the best thing, because it's only one set of principles and not everybody's set of principles. So the ability to say, here's what CSP taught me to do, here's the pros and cons, here's what faculty do, pros and cons, here's what peers do, pros and cons, here's what administrative staff do, pros and cons, is a tremendous skill that I've seen you grow over the past 18 months or whatever you want to. You have exited Plato's cave. Plato's allegory of enlightenment. So all these things that you have begun to do is begun to take you out of that cave. Begun to remove yourself from a single mindset to be able to see reality as it truly exists rather than reality as perceived through clouded eyes.